Okay, so hey guys, welcome back to another interview. Today I'm here with Lianne Bush. Lianne, how are we doing?
I'm alright, thank you. Are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's been a pleasure to come down to your gym today and see some good competitive sparring. And how do you rate the sparring, and how nice is it to have somebody to spar with quite local to you?
Oh, I absolutely love the sparring with Jess. I think we've been sparring just over a year now, and I think it's top quality sparring. It's a clash of styles, but it means that we both get to try things that we're practicing in training. But because it's so hard, training's all about coming back the following week with something different, and we elevate each other, and it's really handy because our fight dates seem to keep falling at the same time. So we go through camps together. I think this will be our third one together, so it's really good.
Definitely. I hear some stories of women especially struggling to find sparring, having to travel quite a way, but it must be such a privilege to be able to just have it kind of around the corner. I mean, for you, this is at your gym now, but of course you go up to Birmingham as well.
Sunday we was over at Jess's gym. Yeah, I think once you find a good sparring partner, you should keep hold of them, especially as a female, because, I mean, I travel everywhere for sparring. I'm sure Jess is the same. My camp in January to March, when I had the fight in March, I was travelling down to Bournemouth some weekends, sparring Gemma Rueg down there. I'll travel anywhere, but we've sort of aligned with Jess, and it works out perfectly. So we have a good spar, and then we have a good chat afterwards once we've punched each other in the face for 6 or 8 rounds.
Indeed, and you're with your coach, Rendell Munro, and what is it like to be coached by somebody who has fought at that top level?
You can't get away with anything, that's for sure. Anything he says, I've been there, I've done it, I know that. Like, he's experienced everything, so really, really lucky, because if he's telling you something, you got to listen, because he's coming from experience. There's a lot of brilliant trainers out there that haven't boxed, but that's fine, because they get it as a trainer, and you know, they're great at what they do. But Rendell's lucky enough to have been there and done it, and be able to teach other people as well, because just because you've boxed doesn't mean you're a good teacher. But Rendell's absolutely brilliant, and I mean, I've come on amazing over 3 years with Rendell, having never done the amateurs as well, so I've learnt a lot from him. So I mean, it's a 3-hour trip to train with Rendell, and I do it 2 to 3 times a week. That's how much I value it.
Most definitely, and you touched upon there your kind of maybe lack of amateurs, but would you say that with every fight and with every day in the gym you are constantly improving?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with coming off the 2 losses as well, having to accept that we were at the wrong weight, we've took the pressure off with the weight this camp. I'm going to fight a lot healthier weight, and I've stayed fit between fights, because I should have fought in June, but I suffered a stupid injury. I hit myself in the lip with a medicine ball, split it open, which no one's letting me live down. And but I've stayed fit, so it feels like we've got a bit of a head start on this camp, because we're not having to worry about the weight, and we're not having to sort of scrape back a little bit of fitness to get ourselves going. So that means that me and Jess have been able to go straight into sort of 7-8 rounds sparring, still with like 8 weeks camp still to go. So
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you mentioned your injury there. Not going to touch upon how it happened too much, but just to kind of, it must have been a bit frustrating, especially coming off the loss. I'm sure you wanted to go straight back and avenge it.
Yeah, we had an opponent lined up at the heavier weight, and because we were coming off the back of a fight, again, we weren't having to struggle with fitness, and we'd already got the weight sort of down from the last fight. So it was all systems go, really, with an opponent in mind, and then I injured myself. So I learnt the hard way, pick up a slam ball, not a medicine ball.
Indeed. And so I suppose, were there any kind of dark days or days where you didn't really want to go to the gym, or didn't really, or maybe wanted to go to the gym but couldn't because of the injury, that you just, what was it like and how difficult was it?
No, I think the only thing that was stressing me out was that I couldn't spar, because potentially I could have still fought. The lip would have healed in time. In the end, actually, it healed the week of the fight, so it all worked out perfectly, really, as in it was right to pull out. But the frustration was that I couldn't spar, and for me, going into a fight, I have to spar. I have to be able to try what I've been doing on pads, and having Jess as well. It's mentally, you have to go into the fight with that sparring, just for the confidence really. So that was the only frustrating thing. I carried on training with it.
Of course, and I've seen on Instagram you do enjoy your running, and it means, of course, it means you're very well conditioned, and means that you're kind of made to be able to do these kind of longer rounds. And how far away is it, do you think, until you are up and around a little bit more?
I think the thing that caught me out with the last fight, like I say, is the weight, and we've learnt from that, because the last fight I probably could have gone 10 rounds. I was not even gassing after 6, to say that it was the wrong weight. So if I could just, replicate the sort of training, conditioning that we were doing back then that got me so fit, tracking heart rates and stuff, recovery inside sparring, I don't think it should be long really. I've been doing 6 since I turned over. I've never done a 4-round fight, so I'm used to the 6, so I'm happy to step up to the 8.
Amazing. And so, of course, we've got a fight announcement for you, October 1st, I believe. And is that the Athena? Yes, a Sunday show. I didn't expect that. But how nice is it to have that kind of end goal and that date now?
Yeah, it's good to have a date, with losing the date in June. And I like to have plenty of notice of a date, because then you can give your fans plenty of notice, so they can't give you no excuse for not buying a ticket. But also because it is the Athena, and that's Leicester, and I'm from Derbyshire, Ripley, I like plenty of notice so that I can sort minibuses. I always have to put minibuses on for my fans. I'm quite proud of how many tickets I do sell, even though they have to travel an hour, because all my initial fights were sort of Nottingham, which is on the doorstep. But it's nice to have a date and to have quite a bit of time to tell fans, so that they can get tickets together and can get buses sorted and stuff. That worked really well last time, so yeah, it's exciting to have a date.
Exciting times indeed. And so what are you going to be wanting to go into this fight to show?
The only problem I've ever had in the last 2 fights that I lost was the weight. Everything else was there, it was just the weight. And once we fix that, we're all systems go again.
Amazing. And I'm sure you don't look too much into it, but the rest of the division, are you looking at any of these higher fights, maybe not too far away?
The thing that I want to do first off is just fight at the heavier weight, see how it feels, make a statement at that weight, and be able to box like I did in my debut, because I felt like I boxed really well, and just get some wins back under my belt before I worry about who's at what weight, because although we are fighting heavier, it is still a on the day weigh. The bigger fights, you're looking day before weigh, so it's not to say what weight I fight at on the 1st of October is necessarily the weight, but we've certainly got to make a change, because 9 stone 4 is not my weight.
No, it's definitely good, and you see it quite often with fighters. It's definitely nicer for them to learn the weight difference earlier than later on, and I suppose also in that aspect it's better to be having them problems with weight in the way of losing earlier on than definitely later on.
And the thing is with the female fights and the female divisions, losses, it doesn't mean what it necessarily means in the males. You can come back out 3-2 now, but it doesn't mean anything really. A couple of wins and you're right back in contention for something, so can't let it get you down. And I think, listening to Jess, she said it as well, too many people are scared of losing the O, but you're not going to gain any experience fighting people that you can just walk round for 8 rounds. And I personally think as well that your fans, they cotton on and they get a bit bored of it. They come because they want to see you do well, of course. They want to see you win, and you're always going to have those fans that don't really get boxing. They love you, so they'll come anyway. But then when you're selling tickets to people that know the boxing, they only want to watch you box somebody that's 0-99-0 for so long before they think, yeah, but you're just going to win, aren't you? So you've got to step it up, and I think you gain a lot more respect when you have those domestic fights and those hard fights.
Most definitely, and I'm really kind of enjoying your mindset that you're saying here. And just for anybody, I mean, we've seen the women's division progress so much as of recent. For anybody looking to get into the sport and maybe get a little bit of doubts, what would you like to say to them?
I spend some time with some amateur girls that are a lot younger than me, but we get on really well, and I do a lot of training with them. When I go down to Devon, I've got a friend, Amelia, that makes sure that I can still box when I'm down there. She's doing really well in the amateurs. And I train over in Chesterfield with the amateurs, and I've got a friend Shanice there as well. And I look at them and I know when they have losses, they're so resilient. But in the moment, I know it gets them down, and naturally it would. But I think to myself, you know, you're so young. Now's the time to make those mistakes. Now's the time to learn. I'm 36, learning that I shouldn't be fighting at 9 stone 4. If I could have done the amateurs and found that out, you know, where would I be at 36? So I'm constantly telling them, just enjoy it. If you lose, you lose. You're in the amateurs, yeah. You're going to have your dreams in the amateurs before you might turn over, but you've got time, so get in early, enjoy it, listen, find a good trainer, but find a trainer that, you know, has got the best intentions for you, because not everyone has, and that's a shame. But yeah, just enjoy it and don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think that's what I see a lot of the girls do that I see in the amateurs, you know. But you can't knock them, because everyone wants to win, and it is disheartening when you lose. But I think those two guys in particular, where they've had losses, the way they've come back from it, it's been very inspiring for me, and it's made me not be somebody about my losses as well. So just girls looking after girls.
Of course, that's amazing. And so, just out of curiosity, what's it like, the difference between sparring pros and amateurs?
Oh, amateurs are so quick, and sometimes you think they're there and then they've moved, and you think, bloody hell, just stand still a minute. So there's definitely a difference in styles when, you know, they've got that in and out, and they're very crisp, and that you know, they're very sleek, and they're not so much like stand and trade amateurs, which is fine, because I think sparring both, you get a bit of both. But you know, put a lot of emphasis on sparring with the pros when it comes to getting ready for a fight. But I do like to mix it up. But for me, I benefit from both, because, as I've said before, I'm not doing the amateurs. You know, I'm always picking little bits up. So, but yeah, I'd say speed is probably one thing. But sometimes you don't see Jess's punches coming. So.
Most definitely. And I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask for your fans that are coming to watch you October 1st. What would you like to say to them?
I just want to say thank you. I know that's what everyone says, but I wish that more. I wish you could bring them into your camp life, and they could see everything that goes on behind the scenes, and that they could feel just how important that one ticket sale is. I know that sounds really cheesy, but you do. You wish you could just let them feel it, rather than you keep having to say it. Because I've said to people before, you know, you verge on feeling like you're begging, and I'm sure any boxer would say that they absolutely hate that feeling, having to constantly put the posts up and chase people for money. But you're just so grateful when people are like, I want to come and watch box. You know, I've got two mates coming with me, and you're trying hard. How happy are you? Like, but it means everything at Small Hall. So everyone says thank you, but we all mean it, because it makes such a difference. If we don't sell those tickets, we do not fight. Everything stops there. So.
No, I totally agree. Hear loads of fighters talk about that, and thank you very much for letting me come down here today, Lianne, and
Thank
it's
you.
been a great chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah.